Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to the virtual 2021 State of the City Address. I wish we could all be together like we had in years past at the Capitol Civic Center or other great venues throughout the city, but this will have to do. Tonight, I would like to provide an overview of the many developments that we have seen throughout the city in 2020 and what we can expect to see in 2021. I want to make something very clear from the beginning of this address. While I may be the one presenting it, there are a plethora of individuals who are to thank and to recognize for all the amazing things that we've seen throughout the years. From business owners expanding, or business owners choosing to make Manitowoc their home, to the Common Council, who has unanimously approved every development agreement over the last few months, to city employees who carry out the day-to-day responsibilities of our government to ensure each and every one of us has a great quality of life. For our citizens, and that's who I want to thank especially last, our citizens. Because your support and your positive attitude truly helped us get through a very difficult 2020 to see many positive results. I want to thank you, and thank you for tuning in this evening to hear a little bit more about what is happening in the City of Manitowoc. While this address focuses on the areas the city played a role in, I don't want to diminish all the entrepreneurs and individuals who stepped up to make this a better community in 2020, and all those who continue through 2021. I'll be talking about our priorities downtown, our neighborhoods, our economic growth, and the financial health of our city. I apologize in advance that this address may be a little bit long, but there is just so much happening in the City of Manitowoc over the past year and much more to come in 2021. The state of our city is the strongest it has been in generations. In fact, I was strongly encouraged by quite a few groups that I've given community updates to over the past few months to give this type of address in the state of the city because of the many great things that they heard me say. And when you put everything together in one, it's truly remarkable where this city is today. Even our friends from Two Rivers suggested that I provide this to you as I gave them address to their Sunrise New Rotary Club last week. So let's get to it. The first priority that we set out a few years ago was to talk about downtown. Over the past few years, last 20 years, our focus has been on the west side of the city, and rightfully so. The interstate is a major corridor for business growth and development. We've seen that with our industrial park and with Harbortown. But we lost focus of downtown. So quite a few years ago, the Common Council approved moving forward with a downtown master plan. That downtown master plan really laid out three priorities, three areas where the city should focus on if we want to have a thriving downtown. And that is to live, to work, and to play. A few years ago, the City of Manitowoc and the Common Council and myself purchased the old Canadian National Peninsula in June of 2018. This 20-plus acres of land just west of the 10th Street Bridge is truly remarkable, and I'll tell you one thing, there are many cities who would love the opportunity to have 20 acres of undeveloped land adjacent to their downtown and along their river. The city purchased this with development in mind, but not just development for tax base, development for public access, development for the public to be able to enjoy and appreciate this land just as much as the people who are developing it. There will be two phases of this entire land. Phase one starts on the easternmost portion of the property. And this last year, the Common Council approved $3.3 million in infrastructure for portions of Phase 1. This is also due to two developments that are going to be coming into Phase 1 in 2021. First and foremost, the intersection at 10th and Maritime Drive will be a four-way intersection this summer being constructed. Maritime Drive will end at 10th Street, and the new River Point Drive will begin as you head into the River Point district. That would be on the southeast side of the property. Phase 1 also will bring the first portion of a boulevard, which runs north-south, now known as 11th Street. But this boulevard we created in an intended purpose to be able to utilize, to be able to shut down for large events, for activities. We made it a larger boulevard to just enhance the overall quality of that entire project. It'll be a very nice boulevard. Phase 1 will start this year as well. And within the next 2 years, a river walk and a public access boat launch will be available to citizens along the Manitowoc River. Again, that was something that was very important with this piece of property, was to make sure that the citizens could appreciate, every citizen could appreciate it in any way possible. So the old car ferry dock, for those who remember when the car ferry used to dock just west of the 10th Street Bridge, you can see it on this map right here. That will be a public access boat launch, and hopefully we can get some more tie-ups for boats because we are seeing a lot more activity on the Manitowoc River. Phase 2 will begin in roughly 5 years or dependent upon future development. So you can see here the westernmost part of the property continues along with commercial, some public space along the point, and also there are plans for potential townhouses which overlook the beautiful bluff, which is where Harrigan Parkside is, and the park right next to it, that beautiful bluff over there. It's just amazing, the views that you can see from there. Probably the largest new development in downtown in generations will be the construction of an 81-unit apartment complex. This will be on the southeast portion of the property. These market rate unit apartments will begin construction this summer, probably in June, with completion in fall of 2022. These apartments will be probably the largest development that we've seen in downtown in quite some time. Again, our number one priority in everything of the three is to get people to live downtown. If you get people to live downtown, that's where they'll stay. They'll support local businesses downtown. They'll support the local economy downtown. And this beautiful building will take advantage of the natural beauty of the river, views of the courthouse in downtown, and of course, Lake Michigan. Again, that construction begins this June with completion in fall of 2022. Pet Skull Brewing Company, a wonderful business right now located on 9th Street, will be moving to 1015 Buffalo Street in a beautiful 100-year-old Cream City brick building. This building is just west of the car wash that is on the corner of 10th and Buffalo right now. The building exists. They're going to be doing interior and exterior renovations. There'll be some facade grant dollars involved in this project, but they're going to be adding a beautiful deck out the west side, and they will also be adding a restaurant for Cajun, for those who love Cajun, and also their brew pub, and also expand their distributing line. Pet Skull has expanded their distributing. You can find most of their beers in a lot of locations in Manitowoc. This will be a nice, new, great addition to the River Point District, and we look forward to them opening in early summer. There's been a lot of new businesses that have opened in downtown over the past few years. Most recently, this last year, Bricks, which is the old Studio 8 building. Brandon Barteau and his family purchased this building and have renovated it into a beautiful, they took this historic building, popped open the windows so you can see the interior of the building, redid everything for a nice, beautiful restaurant and bar, and also upstairs space that has great views of the courthouse and downtown, right on the corner of 8th and Washington. There will be 8 new condos being built. Mike Howe has purchased the old Rudy Rotter Museum, which is on 7th Street, in between Buffalo and York. It expands the entire block. There will be 8 condos with first floor inside parking available to the tenants, a rooftop patio, really making it more of an industrial type look on the exterior and the interior. It's another way to bring people to live downtown in a beautiful setting in one of the most growing areas of downtown on the north side of the bridge with everything that's going around it. One of the neat additions that will be here will be the addition of a plaza or courtyard, which is actually to the west of that building, kind of behind Ryan's on York there. The courtyard currently exists, but it's hidden by other buildings in its way, most notably the old MC3's building and the Red Cross Garage, which is on Buffalo Street. The MC3's building is on York Street, right next to Ryan's on York. Those two buildings will be demolished, and the city will be constructing a public parking lot that will add upwards of 45 public parking stalls in that area. So you can see from the design of the parking lot in these slides where the parking lot will be. 45 new spots that can be leased to surrounding businesses during the day, and in the evening help with all the new businesses that have popped up in that area. The wharf will be expanding to have a permanent structure on their current site. The wharf has been in business for the last 2 years. They currently are building a permanent building that will be year-round, have indoor availability, but still keep that beautiful outdoor space along the riverfront with their docks, and also have a retractable roof for those maybe rainy days in summer that you still want to be outside and enjoy some bands. So the wharf plans on opening before Memorial Day. We will be upgrading the intersection at 8th and Maritime in downtown Manitowoc. Currently, we will be removing the large curve that is there and making it a little less of a curve. It is a safety hazard for those who are walking in that area. But most importantly, we're going to enhance the beauty of the park that is currently there. There will be a lot of new amenities. Most notably will be a amphitheater for individuals to enjoy along the natural hill that goes toward the lake, which would be the lower part of this picture here. So you can have small bands perform right on the river, and as you're sitting on the grass, you can enjoy all the beauties of Lake Michigan and the Manitowoc River. And most notably, the centerpiece of this new park will be a new fountain. The fountain will be dedicated to Gene and Sandy Wolfmeyer for their many years of contributions to dance in our community. There's a group of individuals who are raising dollars to make this fountain a reality, and the fountain, once is completed, will be donated to the City of Manitowoc. Again, that'll be the centerpiece of this new beautiful park, which we hope everyone will be able to enjoy. There's been a lot of updates to current buildings in the last 12 months. One of our first facade grant projects was Pizza Garden. This is a beautiful building, old building, but over the years they unfortunately blocked all the windows and put nice green tin over. Instead, this is what it turned out to be, to restore its amazing, beautiful, historic look. And the space is perfect for Pizza Garden, for all their needs. It expands our downtown. If you think of it, if you look just not even over 2 years ago, the City of Manitowoc, we really didn't have any restaurants, Courthouse Pub on the corner of Washington 8th, but restaurants on our main strip. Now we have several, and Pizza Garden really is a beautiful building to end where our downtown currently will end on our 8th Street district. The Schutte building, there are only 2 apartment units that remain. Otherwise, all the apartments are full. There are 2 businesses that are in there as we speak, Graced and Nightberry Title. There will be a parking garage that is built for the tenants of the apartments just west of Village Square, and those will be the old Monument Music Building. Those will be for the tenants, and they just did an amazing job in the Schutte building of renovating and making it bring it back to its historic, beautiful look, like the grand staircase as you see here. There are 2 historic buildings just south of the river on 8th Street. They are known as the Anchor House right now. As you can see in the picture, needed a lot of love. But there are residential on the top floors and commercial on the bottom floors. And the current owner just did a beautiful job working with the city in a facade grant to restore those buildings to their historic look. and there is still availability on the first floor for commercial in historic, beautiful downtown with those two new buildings. We got a new dock next to the Maritime Museum. I want to thank city staff, Paul Brown in our planning department, writing grants. That's one of the things we're getting more aggressive on in the city, so we can have nice amenities like this dock, which is just west of the Cobia in downtown Manitowoc. If you were downtown last year during any events, you probably noticed that there were a lot of boats tying up to this dock. Look for more docks coming to downtown in our river, because we are seeing a lot more activity on the river for amenities and things like this. Painting pathways, demolished two buildings on the corner of Washington and 13th Street, built a beautiful building really on that corner for their clubhouse. They did an excellent job, and we're very happy and thankful that they're in the community and all that they provide for our residents. Jageman residents at 1015 Franklin Street. This was an Associated Bank, I think most recently, directly across from Burger Boat headquarters on Franklin Street. As you can see, it was a beautiful building. But what Greg Jageman and Patrick Neufeld did for their residents is an amazing job in interior and exterior to renovate that into a residence. Balance on Buffalo also received a facade grant. They're on the corner of Buffalo and 10th Street. As you can see, this 100-plus-year-old building had some age in it, and they power washed everything and got it set to expose the beautiful Cream City brick that was there 100-plus years ago. Again, another facade grant recipient. And there's a new salon, Lux Beauty Bar on Washington Street. You may not have seen this because it's a little set back. It's right underneath the Brees mural. But what they did to this building as well, renovated it, and Lux Beauty Bar is occupying it and doing very well. You probably noticed downtown that there has been a lot more color, most notably the Ruth West mural on the corner of Maritime and 8th Street. The folks who did this did an excellent job of brightening up that building, which was just white, and it catches your eye. It definitely catches tourists' eye as you drive by. We also have the diversity mural that popped up this last summer. That is on the Lakeside Foods building on Quay Street. Of course, we got the bobber this last year, which is at the wastewater treatment facility. That one got a lot of press and positive news. We're also going to be redoing Quay Street. Two-block section of Quay Street from 6th to 8th Street, just north of the Manitowoc Public Library. Quay Street was completely reconstructed quite a few years ago, except that two-block portion. So this will be a complete reconstruct for concrete, smooth that entire area out, especially since most of our visitors from the Lake Michigan Car Ferry drive on Quay Street. Speaking of the car ferry, can't speak without talking about the new Badger that welcomes all of our visitors on the SS Badger every single summer. The SS Badger was sold to Interlake Steamship Company. This is a good company that intends to continue operations as is and invest a little more into the SS Badger over the next few years. They have the same season as the former owners did, so you can go to their website, check out, they're doing 2 times a day, just like the old folks did, and you can go to their website and get reservations for the 2021 sailing season, which, after a beautiful day like today, can't wait to see the Badger come back into our port. We also received a $720,000 grant to do upgrades at the SS Badger dock. So what we will be doing, there were some weights that needed some fix, and we received a state grant in order to do that. So if you've seen people diving in the ice over there over the last few years, don't worry. They were there for a purpose, and they were fixing most of the dock. So we received $720,000 from the state for that. As you can see, there is a lot that happened in downtown over the last year, and there's even more to come, with the River Point District probably being the largest by far, and the most exciting developments that will come in the future of downtown. Again, it's great that we have 20 acres of undeveloped land on natural beauty adjacent to our downtown to be able to create something new, to get people to live, to work, and to play. just want you to think of downtown 5 years ago and all that's happened since then. And I didn't even mention a plethora of businesses that expanded over the last 5 years. The wine bar, Strand Adventures in the old Strand. We thought that was going to be another one on our BLIGHT program, but Strand Adventures did an amazing job there. Hala, an amazing, beautiful restaurant in downtown. Forefront Dermatology and their headquarters continue to remain downtown, and they continue to add employees in different buildings downtown. Lakeshore Technical College choosing to make downtown Manitowoc one of their satellite campuses, and a plethora of small businesses from the Flower Forge, State of Grace, and Broken Spoke Bicycle, which will be opening in downtown in the very near future. Moving on to the state of our neighborhoods. One thing that we started a few years ago was a BLIGHT program. We saw that there were many dilapidated buildings that needed either to be renovated or demolished. Our number one goal was obviously to get the owners to renovate, but if that was not possible, we looked at demolition. Our main goal with this is to increase property values, especially in neighborhoods. So I just wanted to let you know, if you have a house in your neighborhood that has been unoccupied for quite some time and maybe the landlord isn't doing anything with it, to let the city know. We'll look at it and see if it fits our BLIGHT program. But most notably, there's been a couple of things, a couple of buildings that have come down this past year and some that will be in the very near future. The old Kenny B's Bar on Washington Street. We had a fire there, or they had a fire there a few years ago and never really renovated it back to a livable or workable building. So the city had that on our BLIGHT project, and we're working with the surrounding neighbors to make something of it with the empty lot that is there now. The former Oriental grocery store, just across from the Muro site, this was also just demolished, and this was part of a larger strategic plan. We know that in order to sell the Muro site, to really advertise and market it, we have to look at the surrounding areas. And that's not uncommon for cities. They look at, when they purchase a property or demolish an eyesore, most times there's a lot of buildings around it that are in just as bad of shape as the building that was demolished. That's because if that's the ugliest building on the block, yours isn't. Now, with the Muro building gone now, we have to look at that entire area. And there's some businesses around there that are doing very well, like Brian's Barbecue and others that are in the immediate area. But we are looking strategically at that entire area, and the former Oriental grocery store was one. 901 Chicago Street, the former Malcolm's and Poorhouse. This one was just demolished recently as well. A beautiful building, but unfortunately just too many years gone at 1216, at 705 Washington, or 705 Chicago Street. I'm sorry, the slide does not say that. We also have 1802 Western Avenue, which was the old Yoakum's Auto Parts at 1802 Western Avenue. As you've probably driven down Western Avenue over the past few years, you've seen a lot of development with Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry and also the city's BLIGHT program. So Yoakum's Auto was taken down just recently as well. There are a lot of residential properties as well, including a portion of this one, which is 705 Chicago Street, the former music bar. This is Ecology's Outfitters or Sports was demolished just this week. Quick Trip purchased that land and demolished that. This one is on the city's BLIGHT program and will be demolished in the very near future. There are a lot of residential areas as well, as I mentioned, that we're focusing on. Again, if you know or if you have in your neighborhood a blighted property, please let us know. We'll get it on our list. We'll work with the property owner to hopefully renovate if they can, or demolish if that unfortunately is the next case. So on our list moving forward here over the next few weeks is 617 North 10th Street, 4128 Custer Street, and 2002 Madison Street. Transparency is also big for local government, and the state of transparency is with our new city app. You can download the new city app on the App Store or Google Play. All you have to do is search City of Manitowoc. What this app allows you to do is get emergency alerts for winter parking bans, snow emergencies, tornado warnings. You You can get a text right to your phone anytime one of those things happen. We strongly encourage you to download the app so you can get an emergency alert whenever there's a snow emergency so you know not to park on the street. You can also get council agendas and minutes. You can find contact information for your council member. You can also report a concern. You can take a photo of something and send it right through the app to the appropriate department. I also encourage you to look at the city's website, www.manitowoc.org. Go to agendas and minutes. Sometimes I hear people say, well, council meetings, everyone just says aye, and you move through the agenda items so quickly. And sometimes that's true, because a lot of times the agenda items are discussed in detail at committee meetings. Well, all of our committee meetings, standing committee meetings, are recorded and available to watch after it's done with all the documents that the council sees at our city website. You can hear all the discussion on any agenda item that you see on a council agenda. So I encourage you to download the new city app and also go to the city website to find out more information about what your local government is doing. The state of our economy. This is a big one because a few years ago, you and I both probably were very worried when we heard the announcement from Manitowoc Company, our staple hometown grown company, announcement that they are leaving the city of Manitowoc. Quite a few years before that, it was Mural. Both of those companies supplied tens of thousands of jobs to our residents over both of their 100 years in existence. And all of a sudden, they were both gone. We sat down and said, what do we do? And how do we address this? Because two major companies like that, within a decade of each other, leaving our community is going to have a major impact. We talked about how we, number one, need to retain our current businesses. And it's amazing the amount of businesses that floated to the top after Manitowoc Company and Miro left. And the second one was to attract new businesses. I'm proud that over the last year, we've attracted several new businesses, and over the last few years, even more. Most notably, just recently, we announced a deal with Ammo Inc. to purchase just over 35 acres of land in our industrial park, the westernmost portion of our industrial park. They are looking at 200 jobs total, which will be 150 new. They currently have 50 that are working out of the Jageman stamping facility. They will be adding 150 over the next year or 18 months. And they'll be building a 160,000 square foot facility in our industrial park. It was a wonderful deal. I thank the Common Council for unanimously approving the development agreement, the change in zoning, and the sale of the land to Ammo Inc. This will be a very good business in the city. And if you've been driving around seeing their billboards, they're advertising their starting wages at least $15 an hour. Some billboards say upwards of $25 an hour. These will be very good paying jobs with a very good company that is moving into the city of Manitowoc, brand new. Konecranes is another one that this last year just moved to the city of Manitowoc. They are currently building a 1.9 million pound, 275 foot tall crane in the Shipbuilder Yard Peninsula. This is a company that's working with Broadwind, and you can see this crane from anywhere in downtown for sure, and a lot of other areas in the city. Konecranes and the city of Manitowoc also received another state grant for $1,250,000 to upgrade rail spurs and other amenities, transportation amenities on the site. Because Konecranes is committed to Manitowoc, they love the workforce, they love the product, and this will not be the only crane that is built in Manitowoc. One very cool thing is they are shipping this crane out, as is, down the Manitowoc River in the next few weeks, probably closer to April or May. So stay tuned. When that happens, we'll have a bunch of press releases so you can come downtown on the Manitowoc River and see this 275-foot crane leave our community. Dram Corporation plans to build in the industrial park as well. They just purchased land just west of Jageman and north, or south, I apologize, of Custer Street. The council just approved selling them the land, and they are currently just outside the city limits on Highway Q. And their facility will take advantage of the beauty or the opportunity to be directly on Interstate 43 and the beauty of the landscape that's there, with a stormwater pond that they will take advantage of for some beautiful views of not just the interstate, but of that. There's been a couple other businesses too that have moved into the community over the last few years that really saved us in a lot of different ways. Alliance Laundry, who just recently announced that they're moving another division to their Manitowoc facility. They bought the Manitowoc Company facilities on South 30th Street, and also Robinson Metal, who purchased property on the Manitowoc Company site. Again, one thing we were worried about is what about all these old buildings? I think we were all a little scared that what we saw with Miro, that a couple of these buildings might turn out the same. Fortunately, they're all being utilized by great companies that moved into the city over the last few years. Breeze Malt is another one that moved into the city from Chilton. They just did a multi-million-dollar expansion at their downtown facility. They just announced the closure of a few of their plants to consolidate here in Manitowoc, and they have plans for much more growth in downtown. Again, if we thought the Muro building was bad, the Anheuser-Busch building would have been much worse. So thankfully, Breeze is utilizing almost the entire property and will be in the future for that land, and a great company, again, that moved into the city of Manitowoc over the last few years. And Sabbatical Brewing Company is going to be opening at 835 South 29th Street, just across from Halverson Park, which is the dog park, and the old Oriental Milling Building along the railroad tracks there. Sabbatical Brewing plans, I believe, their public opening on March 6th. So another wonderful microbrewery coming to the city of Manitowoc in the very near future, and taking advantage of a beautiful old mill. The state of our business growth with current businesses that are expanding and have done amazing things. Again, our 2 points were to retain our current businesses and to attract new. I just talked about a bunch of new, but we did see a lot of our current businesses grow and expand this past year with plans for expansion in the future. Redline Plastics just cut their ribbon this past year. They are also in the industrial park with a 160,000 square foot facility. This is a portion, Dowco, which has been in the city of Manitowoc. Redline started off of Dowco and has their own division now. Dowco still exists, but so does Redline Plastics. And they are interested in purchasing more land from the city as well for another large expansion in the very near future. So check for Redline. Of course, we've had other businesses come like Meyer in the expo land. Thanks to the county for selling that land. The city still believes that most of that land along the interstate should be for development and growth, so we will continue to push that over the years. We've seen so much growth in our industrial park that we're running out of land. And when DRAM and Redline and Ammo and a couple of others that I'll mention here in a second build in the industrial park, we actually won't have any land left, which is a good problem to have, but that means we have to be searching for other areas where we can expand our industrial park. So fortunately, a few years ago, the Manitowoc City Council approved purchasing just over 90 acres of land from Manitowoc County, south of Vebon on Hecker Road, which is directly on I-43. This 90 acres is currently a farm field, pretty flat, and will most likely be the expansion of our industrial park for the future. Lakeside Foods is a wonderful company in the city of Manitowoc. They just consolidated a bunch of different areas for one of their freezers that they built on South 30th Street. They put multi-millions of dollars of investment into this community over the past 2 years after consolidations and acquisitions, and they truly are making Manitowoc their home. And we had some great development agreements as well with them, which were unanimously approved by the Common Council. Look forward to their continued growth as well. Manitowoc Tool and Manufacturing, just has a right of first refusal on land in the industrial park. They're currently in the older industrial park, and they just added on a 10,000 square foot facility. They do not have much land left where they currently are, so they have a right of first refusal on land in the new industrial park. And again, if that comes to fruition, we won't have much land left. Bank First purchased some land in the industrial park just north of Subway, right across from Menards. That'll be a facility for Bank First. It won't be a branch, but a facility for them. Colorcraft expanded in 2020 in the industrial park. Red Arrow Products and Cary formally opened their facility in the former Foster Needle plant on Expo Drive. Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry added on a lot in 2020 to their facility downtown on Franklin Street. And of course, Freighter purchased Holy Family Memorial, which I believe is a very good thing, a very positive thing for the community. It keeps the Holy Family name and mission, and also expands the services that Holy Family will be able to provide. There's a lot. Let's move to the northeast side of the city and the Bayshore development. We went from the industrial park on the southwest side to the northeast side and the Bayshore development. This is the old Elks Club on this site. The largest facility that's being built as we speak is a 49,000 square foot facility where BayCare is building. They plan on opening in late summer. You can drive by on Memorial Drive there, or the new Bayshore Drive, which is just to the west of this facility, and see it currently being built. There are also 2 8-unit apartment buildings being built as we speak. There are 4 more that will be going up later this year. These are market rate apartments that take advantage of the views of Lake Michigan, the former golf course, and the Little Manitowoc River and Lincoln Park. One of the neatest things that happened just recently is we received a grant from the state for $350,000 for trails to go through the property. The developers are allowing us to put public trails through the property. Our main goal with all of this was to be able to connect Mariners Trail to Lincoln Park and the zoo. We want tourists to have a safe and easy way to get into the park and zoo because it's just beautiful. And for our own citizens, trails are something that is a priority of the city, that we want to expand our trail network, and this grant will allow us to be able to safely connect Mariners Trail to the new development. The developers are donating over 10 acres of land along the Little Manitowoc River, where we will have boat launch, we will have a fishing station, a kayak launch, and a bridge to connect over the Little Manitowoc River to the park and zoo. Again, a beautiful development. Community First Credit Union also purchased land in this area, and Angela Senior Living Facility opened their doors last year as well. The goal with all this is to see enough development and growth in this area to spur growth at the Mid-City Mall site. I wish I could have better news for the Mid-City Mall site during this speech, or the Yonkers Mall, the old Yonkers Mall. One thing to note, it is still privately owned. It is not owned by the City of Manitowoc. But what we did is we created a TIF district over this entire area, both the Mid-City Mall site and the Bayshore development, the old Elks Club. And we are anticipating that the growth and development that we're seeing on the former Elks Club Bayshore development will create an environment where the land at Mid-City Mall becomes much more valuable. There's a lot of beautiful views at the old Mid-City Mall site with the West Lake Gardens just to the east of it and a residential area. So we're hoping that with all this growth and development in the Bayshore area, that the Mid-City Mall site becomes much more attractive and many more businesses and or residential will pop up in the Mid-City Mall site in the very near future. Again, the city prepared long-term, creating a TIF district in this area, so if there is development or infrastructure needed, we will have the wherewithal to be able to do that. Let's look at the state of the city's financials. We'll start with the 2021 city budget, a few highlights of what you can expect to see here in 2021. We have about $6 million in road repairs. Road repairs was a big part of the 2021 budget. The largest project will be Custer Street from South 26th to South 39th. Just to give you an idea, that's a little over a mile of road for Custer Street, and we're looking at about $2.5 million just for Custer Street. So when you look at overall road repairs, it's pretty pricey just to get a little over a mile of road done. But Custer Street is in much needed repair, so you'll see most likely most of these projects will begin in July and probably go through September or October. South 30th Street from Division to Dewey, that's also been on the plans for the city for quite some time, but with all the expansion at Lakeside Foods, we didn't want to interfere or have all those big trucks go over new roads. So South 30th Street will be plotted for the 2021 season. Broadway Street, the curve in front of Schutte Park, that will be completely reconstructed as well. This is one thing I want to point out with some of these projects is we sit down with the city council at the beginning of the year or closer to when we get closer to budget time, and we ask them, are there any projects that you want to see in the 2021 budget? It isn't just me or just staff or just a 5-year plan that can be adjusted. And Broadway Street was one of those. Alderman Eric Sitkowitz brought that up in his district, and it made it into the budget, and it'll be done because it needs to be done, but it also was a collaborative approach to funding or to finding which projects need to be done throughout the city. South 7th Street is another street that will be, we pushed off a couple of years because Breese and their expansion and everything they were doing from Franklin to Marshall. And of course, Washington Street. From South 15th to South 18th, that will just be an asphalt overlay. We'll be doing some utility work and some curb and sidewalk work, but that 4-block stretch from Washington Street is about $400,000 that we're spending on that. We created a locally controlled revolving loan fund for small businesses. We had one in the past, so if you're a business who took advantage of this revolving loan fund, unfortunately, we had to end that program because they were all federal dollars, they were regulated, there were a lot of strings attached to getting a revolving loan fund, which made it very difficult for small businesses to take, or new businesses to take advantage of it. We created a locally controlled one, which will have less strings, more control locally to our local economy and what we can do for our small businesses. So watch in 2021 for this revolving loan fund to start. And if you are a small business or a small business owner who's interested in expanding your business, talk to the city. This might be a good loan fund at a very low interest rate for you. We had a COVID fund for potential future budget shortfalls. So we did not know what the state was going to do with state shared revenues, transportation aids. We still don't know what they're going to do because the state's doing their 2-year budget as we speak. But we did have a fund to hopefully balance out some of those losses we may have seen in those other areas. But one thing that I want to give thanks to the City Council, to the Manitowoc Public Utilities Commission, to the Chamber of Manitowoc County, and to a couple of businesses, most notably Investors Community Bank and Bank First, who contributed $50,000 each, to a COVID relief fund for small businesses, so businesses who were forced to shut down during COVID last year, March, April, May. We had a COVID relief fund, $5,000 grant or a $2,500 grant, dependent upon how many employees you had. And several businesses, I believe almost 80 businesses took advantage of that. And then a second round for nonprofits as well. So thank you to all those who put money forward. The city put $150,000. Manitowoc Public Utilities put $150,000. It was a success, and I hope it helped many small businesses in 2020. We also didn't have any layoffs or furloughs, and the employee pay plan was fully funded. And we had a 1% city tax decrease. Overall, you saw your bill go up by about 0.7% on average. That was due to other taxing entities, but thankfully, the council and myself, a priority going into this budget was due to COVID, we did not want to raise taxes on anyone. As for the state of the overall city financial health, our debt continues to decrease to just under $50 million. We received a AA minus, and that minus may sound bad, but that's actually a good thing, rating, which is great, with a positive outlook. We increased our bond rating not that long ago. What this means is we will see lower interest rates on our borrowing. We budgeted, assumed about a 3% increase, or 3% interest rate on our borrowing, and it came in just under 1%. That's a huge difference when you look at what we calculated versus what we'll actually spend in interest. We had many bondholders interested in purchasing our bonds because of our strong financial health of our community. And that's because we have many financial policies in place. That's because the council has been very, they've watched the budget over the years, and they've followed our financial plan to a T. And I give them a lot of credit, because sometimes it may be easy just to spend a lot of money here in one year just because we can, and I might not be on council next year or this, that, or the other. Fortunately, they've been they've done a very good job of holding the line on our budget and our finances over the last few years. One of the other areas that is very important is our undesignated reserve fund. Bondholders look at that for our bond rating, which helped a lot. Again, it might be tempting to spend some of these dollars once in a while, but really at the end of the day, we went from just under $17,000 in our undesignated reserve fund to just 5.3-ish at the end of 2020. That's a major accomplishment. And because of that, we're able to actually invest more in borrowing because of a lower interest rate, and we're able to do more within our own funds, because now we have our undesignated reserves in an area where it's very financially secure, and we don't need to add more to it, which means we can put more money into different areas of the city where we need it most. Manitowoc Public Utilities has done great over the past few years. Last decade at least, we have not seen a single electric rate increase. In fact, this last year we saw a 5.56% electric rate decrease. That was consecutive years since 2009 of electric rate decreases. We have not seen an increase. That's huge. When we talk to businesses like AMO that they want to move to Manitowoc, or large manufacturing, the fact that they can see on a spreadsheet that we've reduced our electric rates for some pretty high electric users in the manufacturing world truly is a game changer for incentivizing them to move to Manitowoc and not anywhere else. We also had an additional 3% decrease during the COVID time, and we did not have a water rate increase either. Manitowoc Public Utilities, other than Lake Michigan and the beauty and having clean water available to us and our community, Manitowoc Public Utilities ranks up there as one of the community's greatest assets. Truly is. The fact that we can control our rates locally, the fact that if something happens to the grid, we can get our citizens back up and running, and the customer service is second to none at Manitowoc Public Utilities. So they've done an excellent job, and you, as the ratepayers, won't have to pay more for your electric rates. We also created several special funds this last year and over the past 2 years. Our EMS revenues that we receive we're putting in a separate fund to help fund ambulances. We used to have to borrow for ambulances, and ambulances aren't cheap, $150,000 to $200,000 to retrofit one full ambulance, and they have to rotate on a pretty regular basis. We created a separate fund where those dollars will be able to be used for ambulances through that special fund, which means it opens up dollars in our borrowing for roads and other larger equipment and parks and economic community development downtown. So we've started funds like that, EMS revenue. Snow plowing budget, we have a separate snow plowing budget as well. So if we have a really good year, which this year is turning out to be, we can have extra funds in there for the really bad years. We won't have to take from different areas. Downtown parking tickets and leases, we're looking at doing a special fund for that, for continued expansion of downtown parking and other amenities and dealing with downtown. And one very positive thing is all of our TIF districts now are balanced out. We did a bunch, council just approved some donor districts just at our last meeting, and our TIF balance has balanced out as well. Again, that goes to that strong financial rating that we received, and it goes to the strong financial health of the city of Manitowoc. So I want to especially thank the council for being diligent over the years to stick to our financial plan. I want to thank our staff who have put together very strong financial policies that are citywide. And I want to thank the citizens. There were a couple of years where we asked for some tax increases to help pay down our debt, to get our finances in order. And I hope you understood why we did that, and I hope you can see that the debt has decreased and the strong financial position of the city is what it is today because of all those actions taken. There's only a couple more, but there's a lot of good things yet that are still happening. Just the state of the city and other areas. One area that doesn't get talked about a lot, but it goes to the old adage, no news is good news. I just want to give a quick shout out to our police and fire departments. We don't hear about them often, and we don't talk necessarily at the council level about cutting back in certain areas or adding in certain areas. But a lot of things that happen behind the scenes with our police and fire department, we should all be very proud of. Our crime rates are very good for a community our size. Our police officers are very diligent in understanding and learning new things and treating our citizens with respect. And our fire department is there, ready for any call. So I just want to give a huge thank you. Myself and the council continue to support the police and fire departments where they are, and we will continue to do so. Council approved moving forward with a housing study. We haven't done one for quite some time, so what this will do is look at what we currently have and available for homes or apartments. Where should we be focusing on more? We know that downtown apartment living is a very popular thing amongst other communities and people, so that's why we're focusing on apartment living downtown. But what about the rest of the city? There are a few communities surrounding us to the south and other areas that are having some housing issues. How can we attract more housing in the community to hopefully get people to live here, even if they may work in different communities? How can we get them to live here, most importantly, and what type of housing are they looking for? And what demographic is looking to move into Manitowoc? All those things will go into a housing study that the council approved just recently, and we'll get going with in the very near future. We're doing a citywide conversion of all of our streetlights to LED. You might have noticed downtown first and also in your neighborhood. Instead of just replacing a light if it burnt out, we'll be doing it with LED lights. So you may see spot lighting throughout neighborhoods in the city, and that's the reason why. But that is a 5-year process to get the entire city done. The Raw West Art Museum has a major expansion happening beginning this summer. They will be adding an elevator and a new front entryway to the museum. This has been in the plans for the Raw West for quite some time, to be able to make the entire historic house and museum all handicap accessible to anyone who wants to get there, and also take advantage of the 3rd floor, which has been closed off to the public for many years. So they're currently undergoing renovations in the front office area. You'll see renovations continue with CBGD dollars that we have for the elevator project to make it handicap accessible. And also the RAR West just put in a beautiful new sign on their exterior, which really enhances the historic and beauty of the mansion. Every park in the city will get a new sign this summer, and with that new sign comes the new City of Manitowoc logo. Anita Stites, who did our 150-year anniversary logo, designed this one as well, and you will see this logo all over our parks and our parks gear and apparel, and also this summer, every park, you'll see this with a new, fresh sign at every park. We are currently building an outdoor year-round restroom, an open air shelter that will have an outdoor shower to wash off your feet from the sand at the beach. We received a $150,000 grant from the West Foundation to make it a historic boathouse look. So this is a historic boathouse. It is a nice looking restroom. We would not have been able to do as much beauty here, but we wanted right on the lake shore, right on the Mariners Trail, to at least make it beautiful. And thanks to the West Foundation, we were able to accomplish that. The Aquatic Center is completing Phase 3 on time and will be open this summer, 2021. They are adding a warming pool and splash pad as we speak. They will be completed in time for the 2021 season. We're looking at also expanding hours at the Aquatic Center and having more activities for adults and children at the Aquatic Center this summer. We're doing improvements at Camp Vitz. Some of you may not know where Camp Vitz is. It is on South Parkview Road, which is that part technically not in the city limits. But it's by the railroad tracks off of Custer Street. It's a beautiful 90-acre wooded park that is in the city of Manitowoc limits, just off South Rapids Road to that end. It's connected to the city. But it's just natural beauty, walking trails, biking trails, and when you get down to the Manitowoc River, It's just spectacular. So we want to keep this park in its natural state, natural habitat, but we need parking and we need better access. We currently purchased some land just near the railroad tracks on South Parkview Road in order to add a parking lot and in the future restrooms and expanded trails. The skate park at Miracles Park got new lighting, so you can, there's a lot of people from all around northeast Wisconsin that come to our skate park. It is something unique to the area, and we just added lighting there this past summer. There will be continued improvements at Red Arrow Park. If you haven't been to Red Arrow Park in a while, please go down there. There's a lot of volunteers, Ed Hansen and others, who have done a spectacular job of bringing history of the Red Arrow Division to the park, with signs, with features, with a cannon and all other fun stuff. But go down there, check it out. They did an amazing job. There will be continued improvements down there, including working on a 100-foot zip line amenity. There's a 75-foot zip line at Citizen Park right now. We're looking at a 100-foot one, a little longer, at Red Arrow Park. So hopefully we can get that done for the summer season. Lincoln Park Zoo is undergoing a master plan to help them understand better what their future will be. So there's a group of dedicated citizens and people who are dedicated to the Manitowoc Lincoln Park Zoo who are going through a master plan. That should be completed this year as well. There will be $300,000 of improvements to the Mariners Trail. This is phase 1 of 4. The council approved this as well in the 2021 budget. The trail, it's getting to the end of its life. When they built it, they didn't necessarily think it would be as utilized and used as much as it has over the past few years, which is a very good thing. But the trail needs to be upgraded. So what we're going to be doing is, more than likely, we'll be able to get from the Y over to the Yacht Club or the Little Manitowoc River Bridge. We're going to be expanding the Mariners Trail, so it'll be a 10-foot wide trail instead of a 6-foot wide, which it currently is. This will allow bikes and walkers, pedestrian walkers, to be able to coexist on the trail. Sometimes it gets a little dicey for those who are walking and those who are biking. This trail will be able to have both safely, and we plan to do that all throughout, as much as we can, the City of Manitowoc portion of the Mariners Trail. So look for that starting in early spring or late spring, early summer as well. Hopefully get it done by the major summer season so everyone can still enjoy and appreciate the Mariners Trail. I don't want to end on a bad note, but there are some areas in the community where we do need to do better and where we will be focusing on in 2021 and hopefully beyond. And these are things that will happen regardless of who's sitting up on council or in the mayor's seat. These are things that the community needs to address and needs to focus on over the next few years. First and foremost, diversity and inclusion. We saw this past year really bring diversity and inclusion in our community front and center. My good friend and mentor, Tim Hanna, the former mayor of Appleton of 24 years, once told me, if you want to see what your community is going to look like in 20 years, just look at your grade schools. And we need to focus on diversity and inclusion to ensure that all of our children, all of our kids who will be the future leaders of our community feel and know that Manitowoc is their home, that they're accepted, and that they have opportunities all throughout the community. So diversity and inclusion will be a big thing that we focus on. Road repair. If you thought I would talk about this entire speech without saying that Washington Street isn't in bad condition, sorry, we're going to talk about it a little bit. We do need to get aggressive on Washington Street, and we need you as the citizens to contact your state legislators and let them know that Washington Street needs to become a priority because we cannot wait until 2036 for a complete repair. We're going to do some minor things to help hopefully get us through a couple years here, but that is not long lasting, especially since the utilities under it are over 100 years old. So look for that, more aggression on Washington Street and other road repair throughout the city. The Mid-City Mall site in Miro, we took down BLIGHT, a hazard to the community, something that was ugly for a long time. We took care of that problem, but now we need to build. We need to focus on those areas for growth. We need to develop our lakefront and our riverfront even more. It is one of our greatest assets. It's something we have that not many communities in the country have. It sets us apart. Our lakefront and our riverfront need to be a priority, and public access needs to be at the top of that priority list for our river and lakefront. The industrial park land, as I mentioned, we have a good problem of not having anything left, but the difficulty is where does it go next and how do you fund the infrastructure needed? So that will be an issue moving forward. And just continued investment in businesses, attracting businesses to move here, and the overall quality of life of our community. I can tell you, sitting down with business owners and leaders who want to move to Manitowoc and current business owners who want to expand in Manitowoc, we don't necessarily talk about property taxes or Washington Street. We talk about the quality of life because most important to them is making sure that their employees have a great place to live, a great place where they can raise their family, a place where when they're done with work, they have things to do and are happy about doing things in the community. That really is what stands out in every business that looks to move to our community. That's why when you hear myself and council and other community leaders talk about downtown so much, there's a purpose and a reason behind that. When you hear us talk about investing in parks and trails and the Mariners Trail and the river and the lake front, there's reasons behind that because that is truly what is going to grow our community long term. That's what's going to attract people here. That's what's going to keep people here. And I can assure you that the next generation of our leaders who are in our grade schools right now expect us to do this. Again, thank you. Everything happening all around our city is because a business owner took a chance or a risk. A business owner decided to make Manitowoc their home because a citizen wanted to take up a cause, because a group of folks wanted to volunteer to plant flowers downtown, because the Common Council is aggressive when it comes to getting businesses to move here. They're aggressive in investing in our quality of life, and they're doing it collaboratively and collectively. And quite simply because of you, the citizen. There's been an attitude change in our community over the last few years, and it's a good one. 10 years ago, we all kind of had heavy shoulders when some of these bad announcements were coming and the city's financial health was in dire straits. We all didn't know necessarily what the future was. But I've seen an attitude change in our community, and it's because of you, because you're talking more positively about our city, about all the great things that are happening, about the potential of our community. It really boils down to you. I can give this speech, the council can approve things for investing in this park and that park, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you, the citizen, and what you feel is important in our community, and the fact that you're speaking up positively about our community. That's what's moving us forward, and that is what is going to make us grow and be successful in the future. So thank you to you. The state of our city is the strongest it has been in generations. Thank you for listening this evening, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.